If you're on the hunt for the ultimate vlogging and content creator camera, you're gonna wanna watch this video till the end. Because in my hand, I have the brand new Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. A brand new camera in the Sony lineup specifically geared towards us, vloggers and content creators. So in this video, we're gonna talk about some of the brand new features, like the fact that this has the exact same sensor as the FX30, a camera from the Sony Pro lineup. And if you stay all the way till the end, I'm gonna actually show some insider tips on how you get the best possible looking image out of this camera. So let's get into it. The Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is a major upgrade from its little brother that was released in July 2021. Can you believe it? It's already been 3 years since the Sony ZV-E10 was first released. Now in the Mark II version, we have an upgraded sensor with the 26 megapixel X-More-R sensor, which is the same sensor that you find in the FX30, which is a camera in the Sony Pro lineup. When filming 4K with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, it's actually filming 6K oversampled, downsized to 4K, which is gonna give you more detail, more accurate colors, and less noise in low light conditions. Not to mention the high quality 4K footage obtained through 6K oversampling is gonna give you more flexibility in post when it comes to cropping, zooming, and stabilizing without losing significant quality. As well, the ZV-E10 Mark II now films at 422 10-bit, which means you're gonna have more colors in your footage. There's gonna be a nice blending between the colors. You're not gonna get that ugly lines when there's a gradient, and there's just gonna be more flexibility in post to color grade. As well, we're gonna be able to film now 4K 60 frames per second, give you that nice slow motion when filming B-roll. With the ZV-E10 Mark II as well, we can now film in S-Log3 and S-Cinetone, giving you more dynamic range and more flexibility in post when you're doing your color grading. Or if you want to save yourself time by not having to color grade, there's actually a new feature where you can build your own creative look in camera, where you can choose from 5 different cinematic looks and 4 different moods to get exactly the look you're looking for. We've also got better and more accurate autofocus with 759 AF points on the screen, giving you 94% coverage. As well, we have the AI detection features that we've seen in other Sony cameras, where we have human detection, animal detection, and bird detection, meaning you won't miss focus. In the Mark II, we also have reduced rolling shutter. Another interesting feature that I think a lot of content creators are gonna like about the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is their brand new vertical UI. Basically, they've made it as convenient as possible for you who shoots both landscape and vertical. The menus are gonna automatically adjust so you have easy access to them rather than having to awkwardly choose the menu buttons from the side here. Another new addition is the fact that this camera now uses the Z battery, meaning you don't have to use the smaller batteries found in older models, which has a lot less power. So that means you can go and shoot for a longer time. For audio, the ZV-E10 Mark II has the new intelligent 3-capsule microphone, meaning it's gonna choose whether it records from the front, the rear, or from the sides, depending on where you're vlogging and the audio is coming from. This is an audio test with the front microphone. Now we're testing the rear microphone. How does this sound? And now we're doing all directions because I want to see if I'm just moving the camera around. Maybe I'm talking from the side here, or from the side of the camera, I'm filming like this, filming someone else right now, or I'm filming someone in front of me, like the camera right here, but I'm still talking from around. How does this sound when I'm moving all around other sides of the camera? We're just spinning the camera around, talking in different directions of the microphone. How does this sound? Since I know that all of you are fully capable of reading through the specs, I went out and shot with this camera in real life situations to show you just how it performs. So why is the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, in my opinion, the ultimate vlogging and content creation camera? Well, it just has all the features that you need as a vlogger or content creator. First, you got high quality video. You can film your 4K 25 frames per second for talking head shots, and then 4K 60 frames per second if you want slow motion for your B-roll. Then you got reliable autofocus with the eye tracking and AI detection for humans, meaning the camera's never not gonna get the focus, which is always really important because you don't want to do a long talking head shot and find out that your shot was completely ruined because it wasn't in focus. Then we have a flipped LCD screen, which is so important when you're vlogging because you need to be able to see what you look like and also what the composition is. Or if you want to get to just really unique angles, you need to film from up high and be able to see what you're shooting, or from down low and be able to see what you're shooting. Flip LCD screen is so crucial when you're a vlogger or content creator. Next, it's just small and portable. I don't know about you, but for myself, I'm doing a lot of travel and I don't want to be lugging around a huge camera setup. Rather, I would love to have just a nice portable camera body like this to get my content shot. And last, being able to film easily and conveniently in both landscape and vertical is huge nowadays, when a lot of times you're filming long form videos for YouTube and then vertical content for Instagram or for YouTube Shorts. So far, we've only talked about all the great features in the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, but have there been any downsides that I've noticed in my short time of testing out this camera? Well, there's a few small minor things, and I thought I would share them with you guys because I want to be open and honest about everything. The first thing that I noticed is missing in this camera is a front dial. I don't know about you, but for me, I really enjoy having a front dial for your shutter speed, the back dial there for aperture, and this one for ISO. But because this only has two, then I can't have control of all three settings at the same time. The second thing that I wish that they would change in this camera relates to the Cinevlog mode. I do really think it's cool that you can create these already made cinematic looks into the footage in the camera, but the problem is that it adds the cinebars onto the top and bottom, and if you don't want that, then you can't really use the footage. So I wish Sony would add a feature where you can either choose on or off when it comes to the cinebars when filming in Cinevlog mode. And the third and final thing that I wish could be improved in this camera is the fact that when you're using the active stabilization mode, which is nice to have really stable footage, it's cropping in at 1.4 times when filming at 4K 25 frames per second, and then 1.5 times when filming at 4K 50 frames per second. So that is a significant crop and you're losing a lot of quality when you're using active stabilization mode. Now, I did promise that for those who stayed to the end of the video, I'm gonna be sharing some insider tips on how to get the best looking possible footage out of this camera, so let's get into that. First, you wanna follow the 180 shutter rule. So if you're filming 4K 24 frames per second if you're in North America, or 25 frames per second if you're in Europe, you're gonna wanna have a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. That's gonna give you the best amount of motion blur and that cinematic look for your footage. If you're having a hard time controlling your exposure, your lighting, just throw on a variable ND filter onto your lens, which you can then spin around to control your lighting. Second tip, make sure that you're filming S-Log3 or S-Cinetone in order to get the most amount of dynamic range and flexibility in post to color grade. Now, I know it can feel daunting with log picture profiles, but let me tell you, it's actually not that complicated. I actually offer my own Cinema LUT collection, which has a really easy conversion LUT that you can just throw onto your clip, turn it on, voila, you're done, and from there you can add your grading LUT and do any color correction needed. It's literally just 3 steps: apply the conversion LUT, add a grading LUT, and then do minor color correction tweaks, and your footage is looking so good. If you do want to check out my cinema collection, it goes for $50. It's gonna save you so much time and give you that nice congruent look for all of your footage, so I'll make sure to link it below for you to check out. The third way to get the most out of your Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is to avoid using active stabilization. I mentioned before that there is a significant crop factor of 1.4 or 1.5 depending on whether you're filming at 25 frames per second or 50 frames per second. But if you don't need to have movement, for example, if you have a tripod shot, just make sure that active stabilization is turned off, because then you're gonna get the full sensor readout of your camera. Whereas, of course, if you have movement, then turn on active stabilization, because it is better to have stable footage versus shaky footage. But this is one way you can control whether or not you're getting the full readout of your sensor when filming with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. That, in a nutshell, are my insider tips on how to get the best looking footage out of this camera. It's not too complicated. A lot of times these things aren't actually too secretive. Thank you for all of you guys who stayed to the end. I would love to hear, what are your guys' thoughts on the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II? Does this have all the features that you've been looking for, or are there some missing features that you wish it did have? Curious to hear your thoughts.